Yang! Wait, fuck, there was no RWBY in this episode. This doesn't work! Dang it!
We're watching RWBY without RWBY. Wait, without
This
the
is
RWBY,
false
then
advertising!
I consider this a very confusing point of the series. With no RWBY, there's no RWBY. Though that you could probably say it without a Weiss or a Blake or a Yang, but it's RWBY. You don't have a RWBY without a RWBY. It's RWBY, for God's sakes. Moving right along. Hey there, people of the internet world. It's Kibatu with GamerCal here, once again.
Hello again!
You're okay! Yes, I get it this time.
Yep.
I get it this time because I wasn't so focused on the GamerCal heal again. Oh,
Yep.
That's still a headache. But, with that said, in case you missed it, RWBY Volume 4 Episode 3 has just released this week. And yeah, with no RWBY in this one, it's going to be a little weird talking about this one without a RWBY or anyone from Team Ranger anymore. So consider we're taking the focus off them for once and focusing on different things.
Where a whole lot of everything happened and nothing happened at the same time.
Yeah, a lot of things, yet nothing happened. It's a little weird to explain if you don't know the episode. But if you guys want to join a conversation, or you guys are curious what we have to say, you make sure you leave the comments, whatever. And like every other time, or like the last 2 times before, I'll put in timestamps to when we'll bring up certain topics at certain points in time, and we'll just go from there. Just like last time.
And hey, if you somehow haven't watched it yet, you probably should, because the obvious spoiler thing.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, it's still spoilers, because even though we watched this like maybe a few days after it just officially released, it's not officially on YouTube or like really big public until, say, Saturday or Sunday. So with that said, we're only going to say this opening, we're going to only upload it until then. So yeah, that's going to be a thing. But in case you have
for copious quantities of meow.
Meow. Oh, meow.
Yeah, because in case it wasn't obvious, like predicted last time, this episode mostly focuses on Blake.
Blake. Oh, Blake. Yeah, we kind of expected this one, and I think everyone called it pretty much at this point. It's like, first episode was all about RWBY and the gang. Episode 2 was almost all about Weiss, but also about John, because John had to... Well, John... Ren and Nora, I guess, but that's besides the point. But starting episode 3 off, we have Blake on a ship heading off to her hometown, which we'll name later because it's not mentioned here. But she's on a boat off to her hometown, and yeah, she's all alone at this point. And I guess it fits her because she's always the one. She mentioned in Volume 3 that she's always the one that leaves a shadow behind and runs away. Or is that in Volume 2 where she mentioned that?
I forget exactly.
But you know what I'm talking about. She always leaves a shadow
I know
behind
exactly which thing you're talking about, yeah. I don't remember exactly when that comes up. That might have been Volume 2, but I don't remember.
Don't remember off the top of my head either. But with that said, she's being alone here, heading back to somewhere. And it's a small scene of her talking to the captain of the ship, it looks like, where he's just mentioning to her, yeah, I can see you're alone. No people on this cruise ship will go alone. And not only that, she's paranoid, which I guess, yeah.
I guess you could call her a little bit skitty-ish. That's what we're dealing with.
Yeah, I would rebuttal on that one, but I'm too much of a scaredy cat. Yeah, we're gonna have some. Oh God.
Can you tell Sun and Moon is coming out soon because Pokemon guns?
Yeah, Sun and Moon. Hey, we'll talk about that in a minute.
I wonder if that's gonna come up in this episode.
We'll talk about that in a minute. But yes. But yes, Blake, with her being alone and suspicious and paranoid and alone, whatever, it just shows she's really on edge after what happened at Volume 3, after what Adam had done to Yang, whatever. And I was debating on whether or not, I actually debated this for a minute with Cal here, but I was wondering if she was worried if Adam was specifically going after Blake, or if he was going to finish what he started and finish off Yang, trying to find her and whatever. I imagine Blake's just paranoid if Adam is going after her or not. Or if she's being followed by some sort of White Fang member.
Yeah, I have a feeling that when you look at the intro as well, and I know the intro doesn't show everything that way because we've seen RWBY fighting Cinder quite a bit, and that's not always happened. But when you look at the intro, you kind of feel like Blake is really on edge about Adam being everywhere at this point. Like, maybe not quite to the same extent as a certain other character later on in the video, but yeah, you see it in the intro that Blake doesn't even want to fight Adam in that. Normally, these intro fights, like with RWBY and Tyrion, and as the example in this one, you see there's an actual contest going on. Blake is just trying to run and not get slashed in that thing. I think she is, especially after what Adam said to her about, taking everything that she holds dear away from her. I think she's just paranoid of being followed by him more than anything at this point.
She's definitely going to be on edge for a while. It feels like she's really going to be on edge until she gets to her destination, it looks like. And yeah, we can kind of see why, because of what happened or whatever, but there's no telling what Adam's doing or whatever, because we don't know what Adam's plans are at this point. But Blake, she'll get over it. I'm pretty sure she will at one point. But somebody that will not get over certain things that are happening, sadly. I'm shaking my fist with this one because, frack, I knew this was going to happen, but frack! It's after seeing Blake alone for a moment, we see Yang back in her home with her father, and man, Yang, she just looks so disconnected with everything, which is what we expected, of course. But it just looks like, it's like how do I say this? It's like when you see somebody that is showing the biggest symptoms of trauma and or depression, and just seeing that as somebody that she has so much energy and she was ready to do anything. She was just really on the go with everything, and just to see her just dive down to this point, damn, it just kind of hit you. Not as badly as how Pyrrha did, mind you, of course not, but still, this is a character man, it's gonna be a while before she actually gets back into it, isn't it?
Yeah, the hope would be by the end of the volume that she would have at least some of her resolve back. Maybe going off to try and find Raven for stuff that way, I don't know. But at the very least during that scene, we do get to see some news excerpts, and there's a couple of things that get sort of revealed there. One, of course, there are still hunters and huntresses at Beacon, at Vale, trying to recover the situation. Unfortunately not succeeding right now, but trying to recover it. We found out that the communication stuff is all local, so I guess within the continent, but not outside of that, of course, because of the fall of the control tower in Beacon. And we find out that Adam Taurus is known to like everybody basically that way. It was a confirmed presence, and any time to try and bring him in was met with bloody what was the word use of it? I forget exactly.
Certain kind of results, I think.
Basically, extreme violence against the officials, against the police and whatnot. Anytime he was tried to be brought in, which does not surprise me in the slightest.
I don't think it's just police, but just anybody that's trying to turn him in or try to arrest him, whatever, or anybody that's like making maybe either getting a bounty off him and just trying to arrest him in that way. Anybody that meets him, they're dead. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Adam does not feel like messing around with anybody that's trying to attack him. But even after a while watching these news clippings here, or these new clips, these news broadcasts. I'll learn to speak eventually. After watching these news things or whatever, we see Yang's father coming in with some mail or boxes and such, and one thing he brings in, which everybody called on this as well, is from Atlas, which actually kind of surprised me that he would actually get anything from Atlas, and he even mentioned himself that he thought he would have to pull some favors or do something about it, but it seems Ironwood was really eager to help Yang out and deliver this to her. It's as everybody called this, like I said, it is a replacement for Yang's right arm. And yeah, again, it's kind of surprising to see that Atlas was so quick to respond to that kind of thing, but I wonder how long it's been already, because of how many months have passed. Considering that they're saying this is so long in between, I imagine it's not that many months in between. But on top of that, though, the arm, yeah, everyone called on that. Everyone knew that was going to happen, and yeah, it would just feel weird with Yang fighting with just one arm. I would like to see that, though. One arm, one punch woman Yang.
Yeah. No, my only surprise with it is that this comes so quick. I didn't expect the very first scene with Yang in it to be where that was revealed. It was obvious it was going to happen, but you still would have thought they'd have held it off a little bit, just in case, people would sort of second guess it a bit then, is she never going to get anything that way? Or, because communications are down, it's not as if she's in a place that have facilities for that right now. But they decided to reveal it early. That's fair enough too.
I imagine they only show that because they want to show the struggle with this. The arc with this story is that Yang's not ready to have to be brought into something that she's been traumatized, for Pete's sake. She's traumatized into not doing something anymore, and she's kind of lost the will to do much of anything. So I imagine this is going to be a story of her trying to find the will to do something rather than just sit there and just clean and get the mail, try to wash dishes, all with one arm as well. Though I feel that's going to come a lot sooner than we think, because you can still tell Yang's still haunted by what happened simply because of what she got a flash image of. And oh boy, I can't wait till Yang finds Adam and just tears him up at some point.
Well, Taiyang is a teacher, right? Is a teacher at Signals, so I imagine at some point, kind of again a little bit like looking at the intro stuff, but I imagine there may be one or two scenes where, almost like the Pira Jean stuff, where Yang's father obviously is trying to help her out that way to try and get her back on her feet, I guess. I wouldn't be surprised if a little bit of that shows up before she truly gets back into things.
I'm sure it's going to be Taiyang just teaching her all the way through. But one thing I already said before, that this whole part of Yang and whatever, everybody called on it, and it just showed that how predictable it's going to be. And predictability is not bad, but I just really want to see one good, solid surprise from Yang. Like, just one good surprise from, not just from Yang, but like just the whole story of Yang in general. Just some kind of surprise to throw a wrench in there and just make everyone think, whoa, didn't expect that one. Just something. It doesn't mean something big or anything, just something different. I'm expecting they have to draw up to something, but that's nitpick for me. But
I guess that just depends on the specs of that arm, really. Like, what is it truly capable of? Is it just merely a replacement, or is there something like augmented within there? Is there something that would be boosted by her semblance, for example?
That actually makes me wonder as well. I wonder if it's the same as Mercury's legs, because Mercury's legs are all robotics, and he can fight with those pretty damn well.
Yeah.
So I imagine with Yang with this, I'm pretty sure she'll be able to fight pretty well. Oh, Yang and Yang giving a good solid punch to Mercury. I'm gonna break his other leg.
well, we'll break his legs. Oh, Nora.
Break his other leg. But that's for another time when Yang gets back into the swing of things. But in the meantime, we hop straight back to the point of the whole episode was back with Blake, and just one scene of showing that she's going back to where what it looks like Faunus are just naturally there, not just any humans. Though I think the whole crew itself is actually humans as well, isn't it?
There were a couple of little kids that I didn't see any Faunus traits on, but that might just be because they're super young and haven't yet either exhibited them, or they're not exhibited in a place where, like behind clothing or what.
Yeah,
Don't know exactly how that works.
Yeah, I was wondering actually at this point, or I was wondering earlier, if they were, because they were so young that they didn't have any Faunus traits or any features of showing that they're a Faunus at all because they're so young. And I was wondering if they were going to actually grow themselves into that point where they grow into their Faunus features. But that, I feel that's a little weird, and I feel that's not something that they might do.
It's weird, but it's definitely doable, and it wouldn't necessarily surprise me because, a lot of the at least the traits that would maybe be thinking of that aren't like cat ears, for example, that would be a little bit weird to just, hey, suddenly I've hit 13, I now have cat ears. But, it's,
just
but,
that's their growth sport.
Yeah, but other sort of things, like you mentioned in a conversation beforehand, like deer antlers and whatnot, stuff like that I could definitely see. So depending on the type of Faunus, maybe there's that sort of development could happen later on, like as adolescence hits.
Now I'm wondering what kind of Faunus those kids are. If they're both with antlers, they're gonna have to learn to shave them down to like tiny horns. But even with that said, though, with all the Faunus, whatever, not only are we introducing to a new environment with Blake heading off to where she was before, but oh man, this new Grimm that they featured. Oh, I was expecting something this. I wasn't thinking of a water Grimm. I mean, Grimm being anywhere at all. Spawning in a pool of black, whatever. Yeah, there should be some swimming monsters in there. But man, that's a very big swimming creature. And it makes me wonder if it's the same as the dragon, where either A, it was around for so long that it's just been awakened by something, or maybe it's just like the bird that they destroyed in the first volume, where it's really big, but it's not something that they can't handle. But the dragon itself, the dragon was so big and massive and so threatening, it's spawning other Grimm or whatever, but this one is just a very big freaking serpent.
It's a Gyarados!
It's a Leviathan.
Can you tell the Pokemon's going on soon? Because that's all that could be good with that.
It's a freaking Sun and Moon. We're gonna... Yeah. Going on. But you had something to say about it?
Speaking of Sun.
Yeah, speaking of Sun, on top of introducing this new giant Grimm that Blake and the crew are actually fighting against, which I guess we already mentioned that real quick though, is that apparently Blake is not used to fighting around on a ship, though I guess because she's a cat Faunus, she's not wanting to get in the water, so she's maybe a bit more skittish around that area. Don't even start.
Wasn't gonna say it.
Damn it. Move anyway. It just shows she's not used to fighting on a boat, rather than just, or not even just with people, and this makes me wonder if this is in the results of her just trying to stay alone and not wanting to fight with other people, just because of what Adam was saying. Because she is alone on the boat for the most part. And she's just trying to stay alone because she doesn't want anyone close to her to get hurt or whatever. Does it show that she has no experience in fighting something this big alone, I guess?
Probably a little bit of that, and probably just a lack of observation, to be honest. She didn't even really pay any sort of attention to, there's suddenly a row of giant cannons on the side of this ship. You know, she just was kind of doing her thing, and then obviously basically got shot off the thing, and you know, sort of surprised that her arm recovered so quickly after that. But considering that was shown to be injured a bit there, but hey.
I guess specifics were just, but maybe Blake's just gonna get used to fighting with other environments. Though, to be fair, the crew didn't necessarily say, hey, watch out, we're gonna fire some guns, whatever.
Yeah, this is true.
They didn't even care that Blake was fighting it with head-on like that. They just kind of got their own cannons up and whatever. And as soon as they were trying to bring up that big cannon to try and knock it out once and for all, it's not just a freaking sea serpent. It's a flying monster like a freaking dragon.
It's a Gyrados. That's why Gyrados doesn't even have wings. Dang it.
Maybe if you take a close look. But it's a flying water type, don't you know? It's a freaking Leviathan, in my opinion. I just look at it and just think, yeah, it's a freaking Leviathan.
Gyarados is a water flying type after all.
Yeah.
I always sort of wonder why the heck is it a flying type. Well, RWBY got you covered.
Yeah, RWBY's got you explained, because Leviathan can fly out of the water, which makes you wonder why is it even in the water if it can fly? Can it not fly for so long, or what? But
it's a huge Grimm. Well, the reason water animals always get bigger in general compared to the land-based equivalents because they don't have to support their own weight quite so much. You know, because the water kind of does that. So that's why you have like whales and stuff in the water and not like a whale-sized creature on land.
I suppose that makes sense then. But now, without all that said and done, because speaking of Pokemon, with the recent releases of Moon and Sun, wouldn't you know it, we get our reintroduction in this season to Sun, who apparently has been following Blake for a very long time, ever since Beacon, actually, I think, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so he's been following Blake since Beacon, and now him and Blake are starting to fight this thing with the cannons going off, trying to just finish this thing down. And yeah, there's a lot of Sun's not so useless. He's helping fighting the big giant freaking monster, and he's not just saying, fuck it, let's go have a drink or something. He's actually throwing himself in there and just kind of trying to handle it. He's not necessarily doing damage to it, but he's at least trying to help out, trying to handle the monster, and on top of that, trying to impress Blake the whole entire way.
Yep. And failing spectacularly.
Which is what I love to see. Just to show that kind of person just doesn't get the girl really easily. I mean, he's confident in getting the girl, but he's trying to do this while trying to fight a giant Grimm that can eat them all whole. That's not smart, son. You are team. You and Neptune, you're a team sexy and stupid for a reason, as many people will try to call them.
I guess it goes back to what Roman said. You're not the brightest banana in the bunch, are you, kid?
Not the highest banana bunch of the tree, but oh well. But
brightest banana.
I don't know what he said, but I'm just adding on to it. But yeah. So after a whole minute of them trying to fight it, in the middle of trying to be funny with each other, I guess, they're not trying to work together off of each other, but they are using their own moves together, I guess. They're fighting, but they're working together at the same time, which it just looks like a very weird scene to me, where something this serious should be taken a little more seriously, but this is so freaking good. It's just a big mix of just, oh, we're friends, but I hate you, but we're still gonna fight this thing, but I still hate you, so that's why I'm gonna randomly bounce on your freaking head and just jump straight for the freaking monster.
I mean, Goomba Stomps are kind of good too, right?
It helps. It helps, I guess. That's freaking son. This is where you tell me, my hero, as well. It's like, son, give yourself a break, man. Oh.
I guess in terms of the actual fight, though, it's a little bit, I guess, kind of like pre-startup sort of stuff. It's a fair bit slower, but then it kind of doesn't have to be like ultra fast-paced, and with where they're fighting, not much of a surprise there. Was a little bit surprised when Blake was descending to, clip the wing and whatnot, that it wasn't like she wasn't using shadow clones to move around instead of just, dodging in the air. Usually she'd use her clones for that.
Well, that point in time, they were just trying to bring it down into the water so that the people on the ship can actually fire off against the thing and just take off its freaking head. Which, after a whole minute of just trying to distract it enough to have it attack Blake and Sun, the ship actually pierced through the freaking Leviathan to pin it against a rock, and then just kind of blew its freaking head off. And I saw that instance, and the first thing I thought, it's gonna throw another head, isn't it?
It's not a King Taijutsu or whatever the snake thing was supposed to be.
It's not a Hydra. It's not a Hydra either. So
yeah.
So they did it. They all have fun. They destroyed the monster. Sun's trying to give a high five, but he got a face high five.
Also, just real quick before we go on to the last bit of that, there was an RT on the engine in the when the engine was getting charged up to like 2700 Newton, which I don't know how useful that is for engine force, but if that's per cylinder, that might be kind of cool. And there was an RT on the label thing with that, so don't think I didn't see that, guys.
They have to advertise themselves somehow.
It's like all of the ASMT the ways of putting that in that one Mario ROM hack every time, ASMT in coins or in like block patterns and all of that sort of stuff. Same sort of thing with that. Self-referential game over, right? So don't think we didn't notice that, or at least you noticed that, and I didn't. I'm like, I gotta look at this again and make sure. That's why we relook some episodes. Yep, that's why there's two of us here. So
yeah, that's why we're giving ourselves details off of each other. So there you go. Moving on then. Now, after the whole battle, whatever, Sun and Moon. Fuck!
Yes.
I blame you.
Guilty as charged.
I blame you. Anyway,
the plan was enacted all along.
Fuck off. But with that said, Sun and Blake, they get together and try to talk a little bit and figure out that Sun actually mentions to Blake that he's been following her for some time, and trying to figure out why he's not with the team and why she's not with the team. And this is where I said before, she's still struggling with what she's doing, and she's trying to figure out what she's trying to do. She still has stuff to figure out, and she just knows that Sun doesn't necessarily understand or won't understand. Or at least that's what she thinks when he says he does understand, and he thinks it's just because she's trying to find the right thing and go on a killing spree. Nice jump. Swing and a miss, Sun.
I love the instant sort of change of reaction you have here from Blake sort of perking up going, oh, you do understand, and then like the super happy face that she shows there, instantly turning into, oh my god, you freaking idiot.
It's just a small moment of just laughing a bit at just how complicated Blake really is, and how stupid Sun can really be, and how silly these two can work off of each other when they really have a moment to talk and whatever. It's pretty great. But we finally figured out though that Blake is planning to head back to home to, what was it? It was like M something.
Yeah, menagerie, right?
Menagerie. Yeah, that's it. Thank you. Hey, you remembered.
I could remember stuff sometimes.
Yay, you're smart. But yeah, she's heading back home to Menagerie, and I guess to find some family members there. But Sun's going along with her because we're wondering why Sun didn't bring his whole teammates with him. And to be honest, Neptune's not going anywhere.
Good luck getting Neptune on there.
But the rest of the team, they just kind of stay with Neptune, and he's just basically saying he'll meet up with them later. Which, let's face it, Sun's really just more interested in just helping Blake out more in his team at this point. And Oh boy, son, I like you as a fighter, but your character development. Oh, I like Sun. I want to like Sun, but when you really think about him, he's just being a selfish brat.
Somewhat. I think he's just trying too hard to impress. He's trying to out Neptune in a way, because Neptune's always so cool, suave and whatnot, and because of Blake, I guess, being a Faunus as well, kind of helped, and obviously Sun instantly noticed that the first time they met. He's kind of trying to pull a Neptune, and it's just really not working for him right now.
He's just trying too hard to be that cool guy that Blake will fall in love with. And Sun, just step back. Relax. You can get this, just stop being you.
just be somebody else entirely.
Please, just don't be you anymore. Just stop being you, Sun.
You got me with that one. I didn't expect that.
just stop being you, Son. That's all I ask.
Yeah. The other reason he's going along though is because he's kind of already on the boat.
Yeah, he has nowhere else to go. He can't really leave at this point. So
exactly.
He's also kind of stuck. So that's the end of that little small happy little ending. But then the last 2 minutes of this is where it gets to more serious bits in story here, where we return finally to wherever this place is at, where Salem, I don't know, we don't know what she's doing exactly here, but Salem has her palm out, and Cinder looks like she's just struggling to breathe rather than just trying to maintain herself, maybe? It's something about Salem, the way she's saying that. It's something about adamantium or something. I can't remember the word she said, but it's something that seems to be controlling over Cinder, and she just simply states that you must make it. Oh, what's the word?
Dread you.
Dread
right?
you. Yeah, there you go. Dread. Like having a
It
dread.
It feels your trepidation. You must make it dread you, rather than the other way around. Just like I think what this is at the moment is in relation to the Maiden's power, because let's face it, it wasn't exactly acquired in the most legitimate of ways, and we know it's magic hocus pocus, but we know there's some sort of sentience within the power, because obviously it transfers host, it chooses who it goes to for the next host, so it has to have some sort of at least self-preservation, and perhaps the treatment here is more trying to get a firm grasp on that power, fully control it, make sure that it's Cinder's to call her own.
Mm-hmm.
And if it has some sort of at least a little bit of sentience, it would be able to know fear, and that's what Salem is trying to get Cinder to do, is to make the power really bend to her will, like not just cooperate, dominate.
Dominates.
That's my theory anyway.
Yeah, I can see that making sense, and you can just Salem would know a thing or two about that, wouldn't she?
Oh yes.
She would know a thing or two about that one. Oh, though I question how much she actually knows as well. When I ask, I say this because while this little exchange is going on, there's another new Grimm that shows up with this. Oh my god, the constant growling. It's not just it growling; it's the constant growling. It just couldn't go until Salem started talking. It just kept. It was like. It's disgusing. On top of it being creepy.
It's a jellyfish clicker.
Oh, clicker. I'm thinking of The Last of Us, the clickers. Ugh. But when it shows up after Salem and Cinder have an exchange, she looks into it for a moment and simply asks Cinder if she truly killed Ozpin. And I wanted to point this one out too, actually. Cinder really wanted to bring Emerald or Mercury over, one or the other, to at least say the message for them. But it's the first time Salem actually showed a little... It was the first time Salem was not level. She had a moment of... What's the word? Reprise?
She lost self-control slightly after this.
That's probably a good way
to getting at.
Yeah, that's probably a good way of putting it. But yeah, she just showed a little bit of anger towards that. Oh, it makes me know. It makes you know that she's not ready to fool around with that. She wants a straight answer, and she wants it straight from the horse's mouth, Cinder, not from anyone else. And you can tell that she was not ready to put up with anyone else answering the question for her.
Yeah, it was kind of like almost in this, obviously with anger rather than with, nicer emotion, but it was almost the same way as Ozpin needing to hear Pyrrha say that she was ready to accept power in the part 11 or whatever from Volume 3. It's like, I need to hear you say it. It's the same sort of thing here. Is no, you have to be the one to say it. I want you to say it.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're just hearing from other people. You're not confirming it from the source itself. You're just hearing it from something else, and rather, I don't know if that shows that the person isn't really willing to answer, or if it's like if the person's really willing to, or is sure of the answer. Which she actually responds, yes, she did.
I was so hoping she would say no. I wanted to see what would have happened if she said no.
I'm pretty she had to say yes because she left him alone after this whole epic clash, whatever. But yeah, she said yes, and she orders the small Grimm. There's 2 lines here. There's 2 lines left in this whole episode, but we're probably going to look into it pretty deeply. The 2 lines, the first she says that she tells the Grimm there to bring reinforcements to Beacon and look for a relic.
Yeah, the relic must be there. Yeah.
There's some theories on that one, but that could be a lot of things. What would they even look for anyway? Then I mean, with the Grimm, that giant Grimm dragon being there, I imagine that was what's all attracting all the Grimm there. But this here shows that Salem sent them there in the first place to look for a certain relic, and one can only wonder what could that be. What are they looking for exactly? She also specifically said reinforcements, which means, I guess we heard it before in the news earlier that there's the hunters and huntresses were having trouble dealing with the Grimm at Beacon. So more reinforcements mean probably to either take the rest of the hunters and huntresses out, while at the same time having more eyes looking for this relic, whatever it could be, rather than just have more Grimm there, just to have more Grimm there. But the big question is still,
I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, what is the relic? That is the question. I'm not entirely sure. My first thought was Ozpin's weapon, because I imagine there's got to be something within that would be rather useful. I mean, Ozpin is one of the most powerful characters in the series, after all. So
he did carry that thing with him whenever he went, and for really, he used that for everything.
Yep.
When he was using it. So yeah, that could be possible, but.
But I have a feeling it's not going to be as obvious as that. Especially, well, I mean, we already saw that Crow has it right now, and Crow is not at Beacon. I don't know where he is specifically. I'm pretty sure he's tailing RWBY, because RWBY doesn't know about the Crow part of Crow.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty sure that he's tailing RWBY right now. But, yeah, if that's what it is, you would think that Salem would know it's not there. Because Salem's not the type of person that, misses the details like that.
Yeah.
So, I have a feeling it's not that, but whatever it is, I have a suspicion it might help reawaken the dragon.
That's going to be a problem, because I'm pretty sure she'll awaken that dragon up and she'll just bring more havoc to Haven this time.
Like take it. That would be that would be my sort of thought on it, is awaken the dragon, get it to Haven, end of volume, Haven dies, blah blah blah, you know.
Yeah.
But
that's it. Yeah, Haven dies, blah blah blah, that's it. Just like, you just passed that along so nonchalantly, just like the mother drinking bed.
Yeah,
like,
well,
drinks?
I mean, it's gonna happen, right?
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
Nah,
But-
well, maybe not.
You maybe not.
The other,
we'll
the
see
only
that.
other line though, the only other line at the end of this is the just what are you planning? And it's like, who are you saying that to? Because if you truly believe that Ozpin is dead, then who are you really saying that just what are you planning sort of line to at this point?
Series? I'm wondering if it's I wonder if it's somebody else. You know, the thing is, with Volume 1 and beginning of Volume 1 and end of Volume 3, it started with narration of Salem and Ozpin talking to each other, speaking to each other, so, like, over a cup of tea of some sorts, but they still talk to each other, so they can communicate, and when the way it ended at Season 3, though, it just sounds like she's talking to Ozpin anyway, but with here, if Ozpin's really is gone, then she must know somebody else that may be planning something as well, but there's no telling as to who that is, or even what the plan is.
Yeah, because Crow has taken up the mantle of what Ozpin was doing, but I highly doubt that Crow was meant to be the recipient of that line.
I guess we'll have to wait and see. That's just one of those another one of those mysteries that just makes you think, what is this all about? Just
it's a line that asks like 20 questions and answers -5 of them.
Yeah, ask 20 questions, you receive another one. Like, you get one question, and you get an answer to one more, and then you get 2 more questions on top of that.
Yep.
All sorts of questions to ask about this, but that's gonna have to be saved for next time, because Volume 4, Episode 4 is just around the corner, and speaking of Volume 3, or Volume 4, Episode 3 overall, not a lot has happened, but I guess we've still got quite a bit of RWBY, at least. Not RWBY, but RWBY.
Yeah, it's like I said, everything happened and nothing happened at the same time.
Everything happened, but nothing happened. I guess that's the whole point of this episode. Hopefully more will happen in the next episode, though. But that's for next episode to figure out, and that's for next episode to watch and be amazed, I guess.
Yeah, that's most likely going to be in 2 weeks, though, because I believe the World of Remnant video should be the next one that's going up.
Yeah, and if that is the case, we may actually do that along with the 4 World of Remnants that came before the whole series started, with Atlas, Beacon, or not Beacon, the other 4, the big 4 kingdoms. The big 4 kingdoms, I should say.
Yeah, because I suspect it'll be Menagerie that's the focus of this one, unless there's just some completely random tangent that go on with stuff, which, let's be fair, is also a possibility.
Anything's possible with this so far, but still, there's still so many questions left, but we'll get to that as we get to that. So I guess until next time, everybody, we'll just wait until RWBY Volume 4, Episode 4 comes around. So until next time, everyone.
Bye!